In this topic, we discuss how to create forecasts for an ATO model. As a note, Planning Central uses planning percentages for option class and options from the organization-specific item structure definitions. Forecasting of ATO models includes the following. It generates statistical forecasts for ATO models by using shipment and booking history to forecast. It's also for consuming model forecast. Sales orders for configured products consume the model forecast. It explodes remaining model forecasts by generating production forecasts for option class and options, and creates supply for organization-specific forecasts by sourcing components and subassemblies using standard planning sourcing rules. This diagram depicts the following scenario. Consider an ATO model that is manufactured in organization M1 and which consists of an option class A with two options, option 1 and option 2. It has another option class B with two options, option 3 and option 4. Forecast control for the model and all components except option 4 is set to consume, then explode. The planning percentages for the option class and the options are maintained on the item structure. Planning uses these percentages. Supply planning gets the percentages from the organization-specific item structure. You can input organization-specific forecasts for single-level and multiple-level ATO models into supply planning. In Planning Central, the forecast for the options, option classes, and lower-level model appears as production forecast. This indicates the forecast that remains after planning consumes the model-level forecast against any sales order for the corresponding configured item. The production forecast is calculated for all modeled components based on the planning percentages defined in the item structure. Option 4 does not have a forecast control setting of consume then explode, so a forecast does not get exploded to option 4. As a note, fixed and variable lead times for the model and components are considered during the generation of production forecast. In this example illustrated, the model has option class A at 100%, option 1 at 60%, with usage 2 units, and option 2 at 40%. Assuming the fixed lead time for the model is 5 days and the variable lead time is 0, then the following is the exploded picture of a model forecast that is due on day 15. If model forecast date equals day 15 and quantity is then 1,000 units after consumption. Option class production forecast date equals day 10 and quantity would be 1,000 units. Option 1 production forecast date equals day 10, quantity would be 1,200 units, and option 2 production forecast date being day 10, quantity would be 400 units. This screenshot shows the supplies and demands page with a model, option classes, and options. Planning Central meets forecast demand for models by creating for models, option classes, and option forecasts for the top by sales orders for the corresponding configured item and exploded as type production forecast to the model components. The order types listed here are forecast and planned order. This screenshot now depicts the demand for components resulting from sales order for the model having order type planned order demand on the supplies and demands page. Planning Central meets sales order demand for configured items by creating supplies for the configured item and selected options. Here are a few more considerations around CTO planning. Sourcing rules defined for the configured item are given precedence over that of the corresponding model while creating supplies for configured items. Forecast for a model includes only the end demand for the model and not demand that arises from it being a child of another model. Any planning percentages that may be defined at the operational level within a work definition are respected by planning, and PTO models and individual components are planned. Our next topic will discuss ATO model work definition, so let's get right into it. In this demonstration, we'll see the first section of the end-to-end make flow. The configured order will be placed, it'll be scheduled into the shipping warehouse, and then the planning recommendations for manufacturing will be released. So to begin our navigation, we'll go over into order management and we'll create a sales order. So clicking on order management, and then from our overview page, we'll create a new order. this example, I'll specify the business unit for which we're processing the order, and then I'll select my customer. Once my defaults for the customer's primary billing, shipping information is populated, I'll then proceed down to the order line section, and here I'll reference my configurable to order item. I'll enter the part number and tab out. And for this product, which is a customized Vision Slimline tablet, I'll update the quantity to 10, tab out, and then I'll click on the Configure and Add button to access the integrated configurator. So clicking the button, from within the guided template, I'll go in and make my selections. So under the custom tablet, I'll answer the questions, and based on my response, we'll determine what options or components should be suggested. So do I want to use this for Skype or video conferencing? I'll click yes. You'll notice the inclusion of a front-facing camera. Do I plan to watch a lot of videos? Again, by choosing yes, it also optimizes this to have the fastest CPU. With my storage, I'm also getting the largest storage based on my options. So I'll continue with the guided wizard. I'll choose a tablet color. Maybe I'll select white here. And then I'll also choose maybe a monogram option, which has been set up here. So enter in initials. I'll click next to continue. On this page of the template UI, you can see the tablet options, which have already been selected for me based off of the selections I made on the previous page. So for the CPU, storage, connectivity, camera, and so on, you'll see some of those options already selected. Here, I can continue making maybe additional selections. So for memory, maybe I'll make an option here for the 2 GB. And as I make my selections, you'll notice that the running summary updates to reflect the price included for that option. And for the battery, let's pick one more here. So I'll put in maybe the larger capacity battery. Again, seeing the addition in there. If I need to go backwards in the process or make changes, do so. But here, I'll go ahead and click Finish and Review. This takes me now into an itemized listing to show me my part number, and beneath it, all the option classes and the components selected within that particular option class. So I can see my prices, and then also at the top, there is an cumulative price for all of my options. If I'm satisfied, I can go ahead and click OK. Now I'm returned back to my sales order, and we can see that the item I just configured, the options show is kind of a condensed view or a summarized view underneath the item number. If I needed to see those details, I could expand. I could also go back in and edit if I needed to make changes. But from here, I'll go ahead and add a few additional attributes to my order. So I'll click on the Shipment Details subtab. And then under the General tab of the Shipment Details, I'll go in and put a requested date. So I'll update the system date for approximately 3 business days from now. So here I'll put in Monday the 22nd. Click OK. In this demo, I'll also update maybe the defaulted payment details. So if I click on the Billing and Payment Details option, I'll update the payment terms in this example from net 15 to net 30. At this point, I'll go ahead and save so that it'll create my sales order number and a draft. Now we can see I have a sales order number and my orders in draft. To go ahead and submit this order and initiate the processes for scheduling, I'll click the Submit button. So clicking Submit, waiting for my confirmation. So now I've received the confirmation. So from here, I'll go ahead and click OK. Next, we'll confirm that my order has been successfully submitted and match process. So I can do that by going up into my Sales Order Actions button, clicking the options for Switch to Fulfillment View. And from the order fulfillment, you'll notice on the fulfillment lines, it shows my fulfillment line for my sales order. See that an orchestration process ID has been assigned based off of the associated process name. After confirming the Done button to return back to my sales order, we can see as a result of our workflow within our order management now has the status of awaiting shipping for the order. Before the supply order can automatically be created for my sales order, the planning module must first release the associated recommendations. So our next steps will show how that's done. So what I'll do, making sure that I have note of my sales order number, I'll navigate over so that we can run the process in this case. So I'm clicking on my navigator. Go ahead and click down into my other section. And for our schedule processes, they're actually under our tools section, so I'll collapse and reopen the tools. And then from here, we see the option for schedule processes. So I'll click on that. I'll initiate the process by clicking on Schedule New Process. Then from the New Process dialog window, I'll click on my drop-down and I'll use my search parameter to look for the job called Release Planning. Then from the results, I'll click the program, OK. And with my name dialog box, I'll go ahead and click OK to initiate the process. And for this particular process, there aren't any parameters that I needed to set, so go ahead and click Submit to initiate the process. It gives me my process ID ending in 19, so I'll go ahead and click OK to dismiss this, and then I'll monitor my jobs to make sure that job completes. So I'll hit my refresh once. Here we can see the job running. So I'll go ahead and continue to refresh until we see the job is completed successfully. Now after a few refreshes, we can see that my initial job for the release planning recommendations has successfully completed and finished. So with that, we can go back and check the status and the results on our sales order. So first, then I'll click on Order Management. I'll requery. From the sales order, I'll again go back, switch over to the fulfillment view. From this view, I can scroll down and then under the fulfillment line tab to the second tab, Supply Details, and you'll notice that under the back-to-back section, I do have a supply order number which has been created by off of running the planning releases. Click on my supply order number to see the details. From the supply orders details page, I'll click on my fulfillment line level at 1.1, and we can see additional options here. That includes which was generated as well, and you can note my number here. If I click on the down arrow next to the work order, we can see the details, including the destination sub-inventory designation has been completed, the start of the work order. If I also click on the Orchestration Plan tab, here you can see other factors. This just indicates that the orchestration completed the task for generating the work order and creating the pre-reservation against my sales order within Order Management as well. My information, I can click Done to return back to my sales order view.